To come to order, the Council of the City of Norfolk is now in session. This public hearing is necessary for Council to continue operations of the city and the discharge of its lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities, and is being held pursuant and in compliance with City of Norfolk Ordinance 47967 as authorized by Virginia Code Section 15.2-1413 and will be conducted telephonically and electronically. Notice of this public hearing was given to the public on Sunday, June 7th in the Virginian Pilot. An electronic copy of the agenda was posted on the city's website Monday, July the 6th. Please stand for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Doyle? Mrs. Graves? Mrs. Johnson? Mrs. McClellan?
Here.
Mr. Riddick is absent. Mr. Smeagol?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Dr. Alexander?
Here. The motion is to excuse Mr. Riddick from tonight's meeting.
Mrs. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Graves?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. McClellan?
Aye.
Mr. Smeagol?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye. Tonight, this is a public hearing to consider whether the sculptural monument formerly located in the right-of-way of Commercial Place at its intersection with East Main Street should be relocated to Elmwood Cemetery in the city of Norfolk. To address the council, you should have registered with the clerk prior to tonight's public hearing. Mr. Clerk, please call the first speaker.
May we have Mrs. Volpe? Mr. Volpe? Thank you. We have 3 telephones, and then we'll go to it.
Yes. Mr. First, Borkin? Volpe.
Hello? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're on, and the mayor will address you at the moment.
Mr. Borkin, good afternoon. You are present now in the council meeting for the public hearing. You may address the council. You have 3 minutes, and the topic tonight is the relocation of the monument to Elmwood Cemetery.
Yes, sir. Honorable Mayor Alexander and the Norfolk City Council, and I appreciate your opportunity to speak to you. My name is Volpe Boykin, and basically this is what I have to say. Since the Norfolk's monument to the Confederate dead has already been removed and stored because of mob rule and the city's inability to enforce the law and its justified concerns for safety. And since many of the dead it was erected to honor lie in Elmwood Cemetery, I would urge you to keep your previous resolution and promises made that the monument be re-erected in that cemetery. This is owed to these young men who were sent to fight because it was their duty. Many being drafted, which most don't know, or volunteered knowing they would be drafted, and none, like the draftees of any war I'm aware of, were asked if they agreed while their government was fighting a war, and told if they didn't agree, they could just stay home. Some of you are from the Vietnam generation, as I am. Very few of you. I was a bit too young for the military service, but know many that did not agree and vehemently opposed that war and were drafted. And just like many of these young men were, they went. I do not know of one of them who was ever told that if they did not agree while a war was being fought, they could stay home with their family. The city of Norfolk was one of the Confederate governments that sent these young men to die and enforced those drafts, 3 of them that covered every man from 17 to 50 years old. And because it did that, the city of Norfolk owes it to them to re-erect the monument where many of them lie in their final resting places and to honor the ones that were just gone forever and nobody ever saw again. I hope you do keep your promises. You have handled this situation in a very trying circumstances, and I do appreciate it, and that's all I have to say, but I very much thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for calling.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Yes. Mr. Bull?
Yes, Mr. Volpe, in case some folks didn't know, was speaking on public hearing 1 scheduled this day pursuant to state law to consider whether the sculptural monument commemorating soldiers who died fighting for the Confederate.
Alan, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Not when your head's facing down. We can't hear you when your head's facing down.
Oh. Can you hear me now, Martin?
Stay right there.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me now?
Stay right there.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. We're commemorating soldiers who died fighting for the Confederacy, presently located in the right-of-way of Commercial Place at its intersection with East Main Street, should be relocated to Elmwood Cemetery in the city of Norfolk. And now we'll hear additional comments.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Frank Ernest?
Hello?
Good afternoon, Mr. Ernest. This is Loretta calling from the City Council office. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Mr. Ernest, the mayor will address you at this moment.
Good evening, Mr. Ernest. You are now in the council public hearing to address the council. Your comment should be limited to the topic at hand, that is the relocation of the monument to Elmwood Cemetery, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
For myself, my name is Frank Ernest, and for myself and those I represent, we would like to commend Mayor Alexander for his actions to protect both the citizenry and the monument itself. It's unfortunate that this had to be done without being within the constraints of either the old or the new law, but we count on the mayor and the council to act in an honorable manner and see that the monument is restored back into Elmwood Cemetery. We're trusting the council and the mayor to do that, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Stephen Forrest.
Hello?
Good afternoon, Mr. Forrest. This is Loretta calling from the City Council office.
Yes.
The mayor will address you at this time.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Yes, you are present in the council public hearing. Tonight, you will be speaking on PH1, is the relocation of the monument, the Confederate monument to Elmwood Cemetery. You have 3 minutes to address the council, and you have the floor, sir.
All right. My name is Stephen Forrest, and I run the website historicforest.com. I am proud to say that I have over 50 biographies of prominent black Norfolk citizens on my website. I believe that it is important to allow people to honor their ancestors and to help them do that. Unfortunately, the mayor does not believe that white veterans should be honored. The removal of the Confederate monument violates the Civil Rights Act of 1964 because it discriminated against the families of Confederate veterans based on their race and national origin. I retired after spending over 30 years as a government internal auditor, where I identified governmental fraud, waste, and abuse, and also performed duties as an expert witness in federal court. The historic evidence indicates that the city does not own the Confederate monument. Norfolk City Council gave permission to the Confederate veterans to build a monument to Confederate dead per their petition dated June 7, 1898. The petition was the agreement between the city and the veterans was lost according to a response to a Freedom of Information Act request. The city also donated some money to the veterans. The veterans signed the contract and paid for the monument that was erected in 1899. In 1907, the statue was added by the Confederate veterans and the daughters of Confederate veterans. An inscription was also added to the monument to commemorate the last reunion of Confederate soldiers in 1951 that took place there, making the monument an historical marker. In 1964, the Daughters of the Confederacy gave their permission to move the monument 50 feet to allow the building of a large bank building. The city confirmed in a Freedom of Information request that they do not have a document transferring the ownership to the city. The city only has a legal opinion that they own the monument. Anyone who has served on jury duty knows that in every court case, two legal opinions are presented and only one is proven correct. That means that up to 50% of legal opinions are incorrect. Therefore, the city should get written permission from the descendants of Confederate veterans
Mr.
to move
Forrest,
the monument.
Mr. Forrest, your time has expired. Thank you for calling, sir. Yes, next is Wendy Hazlett, and she's here.
Ms. Hazlett?
Coffee smells good.
You want some?
No thanks. I want to go to sleep tonight.
Stretch. Hi, Ms. Hazlett.
Good evening.
Please state your name and your address.
Okay, my name is Wendy Hazlett, and my address is 2305 Shell Road, Lot 12, Hampton, Virginia, 23661. Proud of being a Virginia resident, you know. That's why I felt like compelled to come here and try to help. You know, y'all, Norfolk taking down the Johnny Reb Confederate statue. It's relevant to me and someone else I'm here to speak for. It's relevant to me and my family because I'm the great-great-granddaughter of a Confederate soldier. So I have nothing but the best intentions of being here. And it's relevant for Shenandoah Valley battlefields. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that. It might be 3 hours away from Norfolk. They are ready to be either, for Norfolk, they're ready to be the holding place or the permanent home for the Johnny Reb Confederate statue. I don't know if y'all know this. They have 8 battlefields out there. They want all the ones in Richmond on Monument Avenue, every Confederate soldier statue. It could be the generals or whatever. You know, they're willing to bring it to their table and discuss, like I just said, be in the holding place while everybody's deciding the future of Johnny Reb or be in the permanent home for him. And I hope y'all decide to do that. I almost want to beg you to not put it in a cemetery. They are going in the cemeteries, destroying our statues, our historical statues. And to me, it's like, why would you do that? Why can't you meet me in the middle? You know, I'm here for my children, for our next generations. I want to protect all our war historical memorials. They're tearing up the Vietnam ones, the World War II ones, all of them. The statues honor my family and my ancestors. They honor a mother's son. a sister's brother and a daughter's father. I just want to tell y'all, yes, we did have over 200,000 Confederate dead. Yes, we did have 300 United States Army officers and over 200 United States Navy officers resign and come to fight with Robert E. Lee during that 4-year war. Yes, we did have boys on the battlefield from 8 to 11 to 15, 16, 17, 20 years old, etc., fighting next to their uncles, their father, their brothers, their cousins. Yes, we did have dead all over the battlefield. Yes, we did have unknown soldiers' graves. You know, yes, we did, after that terrible war, had the women and children who went through the pains of the war, collecting and identifying the dead, going to each battlefield, having to dig the body up. And I know in y'all's heart, y'all know I'm telling the truth. Y'all know what our statues represent. Please don't sit by and represent Norfolk, Virginia, and ever say that they do not represent the boys and men from the battlefields.
Thank you, Ms. Hastings.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, we have Tommy Fugate. Tammy?
Yes, sir.
Tammy Hugate, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Tammy Hugate, welcome. You have 3 minutes, and please state your name and your address.
My name is Tammy Hugate. My address is 7946 Redmond Road here in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm pleased to make everybody's acquaintance here and appreciate your time. I first want to say that, that it is an atrocity, all the terrible things that these statues has caused. The city putting, a lot of lives in jeopardy and everything else, causing a lot of conflict. I'm here more so for a proposal. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here because we have got confirmation from Shenandoah Valley. They have 8 battlefields there. And to resolve the conflict, I think it would be in all of our interests to see about putting them statues, not just the one, but all of them out there. Not put them on, these graves and the gravesite areas, etc. Because honestly, let's, be serious with ourselves. It's still going to cause conflict and everything. And if we get it all out to the Shenandoah Valley, that would cause a lot less conflict in this whole state, this whole town, and many of the other towns. I've been here. I'm heading to Richmond again. I'm heading out to Surrey, etc. And we're just trying to, have a common ground and see if we can't get these statues out to the battlefield at Shenandoah, so that way we can resolve the conflict in all of these areas. Now, I'm sure, you guys want to do what's best for the city and the residents. I am a proud resident and have been of this city for over 10, 15 years now. So like I say, I do appreciate y'all listening to me. I hope y'all seriously take in consideration to let's move in these statues out to the battlefield where we have a good place, and it'll take a lot of conflict out of our city. With that, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Mr. Bull?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have, and council, I have 26 names to read that are in favor of moving the monument to Elmwood Cemetery. Mallory Reed, MD, Catherine T. Reed, Larry Gaskins, Bobby Hallett Jr., Benjamin Nelson, Isaac Jones, Joan B. Jones, Wayne Bowen, Deborah Hewson, Jim Wright, Billy Ernest, Edward Fiorello, Cyril Chrysler, Bill Gray, John Sharrett, Jeff Tolson, Jefferson H. Gint, Suzanne Townsend, Mary Ellen Bossman Jones, Colonel Edward Vogt, Muriel Shimate, Brian Taylor, Richard Surza, Donald Carter, Philip Hawkins, and Mavis Rowan. All are in favor of moving the monument to Elmwood Cemetery.
Mr. Bull, have you received any other notices besides the speakers tonight?
No, I have not, sir.
So the majority of the calls, emails, communications you receive is in favor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Pishko or Dr. Filer, have we received any proposal to accept the monument, any reasonable and prudent proposal to accept the monument?
Sir, I believe the 30-day period begins this evening, and so to date, with respect to the two ladies that spoke this evening, we have not received anything formal from the Shenandoah battlefields about this monument. Obviously, that clock begins ticking now. Mr. Pishko can clarify, but that opportunity exists. I believe the ordinance you all are voting on allows me to have those conversations over the next 30 days as well. So, I mean, we'd be happy to have those conversations with the battlefield. Sure.
Yeah.
But we have not received formal any formal letter from them to date.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Bull, do you have any other?
No, sir. I think we're ready to read the ordinance.
Okay.
I have an ordinance to relocate a sculptural monument commemorating soldiers who died fighting for the Confederacy from the public right-of-way of Commercial Place at its intersection with East Main Street to a new location within Elmwood Cemetery in the city of Norfolk. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mrs. Doyle? Mrs. Graves?
Alan, before I vote, I just wanted to say, probably about a month or so ago, I got a call from a girlfriend of mine, and she told me that she was coming through downtown one Sunday morning after there had been protesters and things of that nature, and the statue was still up, and it had been defaced. And there were 3 Black City of Norfolk employees that had been dispatched there to clean up the monument. And they expressed to her that, it wasn't the greatest assignment that they ever had, but it was the job that they were assigned to do. And they wanted to do the job to the best of their ability, even though it pained them to have to clean up the statue of the monument statue. And so I just want to say thank you to all of the city employees, white and Black, but especially the Black employees with regard to the cleaning of the statue, for doing the job that they had to do and doing it with dignity and to the very best of their ability. I don't know who those 3 gentlemen were. She was just so moved by it that she called me to share that with me. But I just want to say thank you to the employees that were responsible for cleaning up the monument, for the staff who was responsible for securing the contract to get the monument moved, to the monument company, because I understand that they took some heat as well from a public perspective for moving the monument. So everybody that was involved with getting it moved for the safety of our citizens, and to make sure that this was done properly, I just want to say thank you to all of them. And I vote aye.
Thank you. Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. McClellan?
Aye.
Mr. Smeagol?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye. Mr. Bull, do you have anything else?
I have one additional item, sir. It's I'd like to bring it before council tonight. It's an ordinance to assure the continuity of government during the disaster resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic by continuing to permit electronic meetings of public bodies as authorized by the Virginia Code 15.2-1413. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mrs. Doyle? Mrs. Graves? Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. McClellan?
Aye.
Mr. Smeagol?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye.
That's all I have, sir.
Dr. Filer, do you have anything?
Nothing further, sir.
Mr. Pishko, do you have anything?
I do not have anything else.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.